y'all, it's your girl Ariza, licensed clinical social worker, test prep guru, your personal hype squad. You know it, whatever you need me to be to help you level up and pass this exam. Today I'm talking about a topic that's just our favorite. If you're a social worker, we love it. We're like, oh my God, my favorite, my favorite, my favorite, my favorite. What do you think it is? I'm lying. But anyways, we're gonna go on this topic anyway. It's one that I get a lot of requests for, a lot of people want to hear me do more of. And you know, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes it just stresses me out a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and do this one for the people. Who's the people? You the people. And that's what I'm gonna do it for. All right, so go ahead without further ado. Of course, I'm gonna share my screen a little something, but I'm gonna tell you first what we're gonna be talking about. Like that policy, systems, program evaluations, all that kind of stuff. You know, I've done some videos, some good videos too, in my course and in my boot camp. You know, they all got access and I love it. I love it. I was so excited because, you know, I had to do my studying and my due diligence on that because, you know, I'm gonna be honest, research is probably one of my least favorite topics, along with many of you social workers. So today I'm gonna do this video and I'm gonna try to simplify systems, policy, program evaluation for you social workers who think macro is scary. So this video right here is gonna be a little bit, maybe not long, it depends, because you know I'm not really feeling the topic all that much, so I'm not gonna probably do a whole lot of ad-libbing like I do in the ones that I like. You guys peep that? All right. So hopefully this is gonna help you instantly be able to identify the micro, the meso, and the macro concepts. I know I did a video specifically on that, but I want to decode some exam buzzwords that you will actually be able to see and kind of learn how these systems all work. All right, so for instance, the word community, it doesn't always mean macro, and that's exactly how the ASWB tricks people up. So macro social work, as simple, logical, and pattern-based, we're gonna go through it. Micro, you can be talking about the individual or family focus. You know, meso, we got the groups, the teams, the organizations, and then we got that macro. That's like policy, systems, society, all of that good stuff. So those are the things we're gonna look at. So if you can learn to hear the scale of a question, you'll never confuse macro again. You'll know it. You're like, oh snap, LCSWVibes or Ariza. You know, for those that don't know my name, it's Ariza, but for those that do, they say it. For those that don't, they just say LCSWVibes. Either way, we can use that interchangeably. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen real quick. Let me go ahead and pull up my slippity slides. Let's see, here we go. Macro made easy. What the ASWB actually. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this topic real quick. We're gonna go through these slides really quickly so you guys can understand it. All right, the micro, the meso, the macro. How to tell what the question's asking. So this is a definition chart. I shared this with you, but I want you guys to understand what macro means, meso means, and macro means. You know, an example you might see on an exam for micro is counseling a client, developing a treatment plan, the individual, the client, the therapy, the assessment. Those are all cues or clues that is a micro level question. And then if it's a meso, you're like running a parenting group. You're working in a school team, a group, an agency, program, a team, a staff. All those terms you're thinking group and organizations. But if you hear words like advocating for policy change, developing a statewide program, policy, advocacy, legislation, community, all of that stuff, we're thinking macro, macro. What do you have to make a lot of, if you in, certain cultures, but, I'm just going to say, what is something you have to make a lot of during Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday that everyone loves? Macaroni. That was the corniest joke I could have said. But anyways, you got it. Macaroni, that's something that everybody likes. You got to make it on a large scale. You can't just make a little bit because everybody wants it. All right. So just think about that when you're taking this exam. When you see macro terminology and words, we're talking about something on a grand scheme of things, Holidays is coming up real quick and my stomach's growling. That's why I'm talking about food. All right, guys, real quick. I'm always talking about the community, the LCSW vibes. We leveling up. And this is the sneak peek of the community. As you can see, it's on and popping. We got a lot happening. I got ethics over here, human development, or study guides that you guys asked me about on the YouTube channels, all right there. Test questions. You just want to level up and learn and see if you can answer those questions. I'm testing your knowledge. Let me go back to the home screen. If you want to learn more about what services I offer and what other things are there, that is where you go to the learning tabs. We leveling up, so why don't you join so you can level up too? All right, so real world examples, like if you're helping a client manage depression, we're talking about micro. If you're creating a support group for parents or maybe a grief group or something along those lines, you're still looking at the meso level. If you're writing a policy or proposal for state funding, if you're doing anything on that kind of scale, then that's macro. That's big. That's a big deal, So this kind of helps you when you're looking at the exam and you're seeing these questions pop up. You're not like, you know what it is. That's the purpose of it. So here's a hack. If the focus is on the individual change, it's micro. If it's on changing systems or laws, it's macro. And if it's about coordinating with people within a system, it's meso. So do this little exercise with me real quick. The answers are right there, so it's not really exercise, but just use these terms to think about it. Get your little notebook and your little flashcards and write a social worker advocates for new housing policy. So you write that on the sheet, on the note card, and then on the back, put macro. Then on the next card, put facilitates a conflict resolution group. Flip it over, put meso. Provide CBT to a client with anxiety. Writes an op-ed about school funding inequity. Macro. So you write down the example and then you flip it over and put what it is. That'll help you. So when you're taking this exam and you see a test scenario, you're like, aha, this is a micro question. This is a meso question. That is the purpose. That's just a good way of studying, guys. Just to study and make it a little saucy. All right. So now you see it. The scale kind of determines what scope, like what you're doing. So you can see it here and you kind of write it out and then you understand it. So go ahead and get your little note cards and write them down. And these are 10 macro buzzwords. So if you see these words, think macro level. These are the words that kind of freak you guys out. You see advocacy, policy, coalition, you like, ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Do I see what I think I see? I see it all the time. Community organizing, stakeholders, task force, social action, funding, legislation, program, all of that stuff screams macro. And I think it's not only important to recognize these terms, but to understand them. So within these words, when they do appear, think systems, think change, think of how you can influence beyond that one individual client. That is how I want you to think about it when you see these terms and you see these words. All right, program evaluation and research methods without the headache. I don't know how we're going to do that, but it's making my head. Hold on right quick. All right, got it. I'm sure you guys heard a little bit when you see these terms up there. So the exam's not asking you to run an experiment. It just wants to know which tool fits where, like how to use this, how to use that. So needs assessment. I always explain it to people. If you get a first question, like typically in the first question, you are doing a needs assessment. But I explained to someone the other day I was doing private tutoring with. I said, look, if you pay attention, the question is already telling you the problem, what's going on and what's happening. So probably a needs assessment was already done, but it is a first style question. But don't get tricked up and think you automatically need to assess because it's already telling you that's happened. Now it's saying what's the first thing to do. So in that case, it was intervening and doing like research or doing something else. I can't remember the question offhand, but really read through a thing. Don't just jump to conclusion because sometimes I know that first, next, best, most got y'all like boom, 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 answering questions left and right. And every time you see that word, you just know. So just think about it because the ASWB, they can catch on to a thing and be like, all right, that is true. But every time we say first, that don't mean you need to assess. You need to also understand the stages that you're in within that question example, whether you're working with someone on the micro, meso, or the macro level. So keep that in mind, guys. So in a needs assessment, that's where you're going to identify if the program is even necessary. Like, should you start this program? You want to know the need, whether it's feasible, and whether it has a demand for it. Those are the key words. Process evaluation. That's if you're checking to see if the program is actually running its course, if it's smooth, I was thinking a smooth operator when I said that. But anyways, an example question would be, are services being delivered as intended? That is the process evaluation piece. Like, this is what the program should be running. This is what it should be doing. But is it actually providing and delivering what it's supposed to? That is what you're asking. You're looking at the implementation, the fidelity of the program. That is what you're looking for when you see program process evaluation. Outcome evaluation. That is where you're measuring the effectiveness. Has the program reduced how many youths were arrested? The results, the effectiveness, the outcomes, when you see that, it's outcome evaluation. It's written all up in the word. He's going to say, I thought he was going to say it's written all over your face, but it's written all over the word. That's staying. We're talking test prep, not singing. No Gerald Levert in that right now. Or maybe that was his brother. I'm not sure. Hey guys, I stopped by to tell you this. You do not have to win alone. Absolutely not. People in the community are winning each and every day. The proof is in the pudding. Go in the community. It's free. We're throwing down test questions, case studies, the FNBM method, all the details and everything you need so you can succeed. Click the link in the bio and join. You don't need to do this alone. See you soon. But anyways, cost benefit analysis. That's where you compare the cost versus the impact. That is the cost benefit analysis. Was the program worth the funding? And you look at the keywords, efficiency, cost, and return. I apologize. I had a thought about whether it was really Gerald Levert or whether it was Sean Levert. And I'm doing this and my ADHD kicked in. So I know some of you can be like, who the hell is Gerald and Sean? That was the other thought that I had. So anyways, I had to get it out so I didn't keep laughing during this video. So that is what I was thinking about. All right. So cost benefit analysis, compare Compare cost versus impact. The example would be, was the program worth the funding? And then the keywords would be efficacy, cost, return. So basically, when you see these keywords over here, just think, if you see them, you're thinking the type, like is it needs, is it process, is it outcome, is it cost benefit analysis? That's kind of how you do it. So again, your girl's gonna slow down a little bit and tell you how to make this work. Get your little flashy cards out, your little flashy, or some of you got these little stickies all over your house, like everywhere you look. People go, remember the color purple when she had glasses, soup, and she was going through the thing. That's how you guys had the stickies up everywhere. Process evaluation, this, and your family is like, the hell is that? Why do I need to know projection? Oh my goodness, what the heck is schizophrenia? Why is that the car? You know, and you guys are just pulling the cards and studying all day. But do what you got to do, because that does work. I think that's a great idea if you are doing that. Put in the comment section if you're doing that, because you know we could just laugh together. That is funny, but I'm sure the little stickies and note cards really work. But for the purpose of this, I want you to get your little sticky out, and I want you to write needs assessment, process evaluation, like just write it on one side and then flip it over and write the keywords so you'll recognize it. So if you see the word need, feasibility, demand, automatically you're like, that must need an assessment, needs assessment. Or if you see something like results, effectiveness, outcomes, automatically you're saying, okay, outcome evaluation. So that is how I want you to do that for this slide, because I do know research and program evaluation and all these things just really make people uncomfortable and uneasy. But remember, guys, I'm with you. It's 170 questions. If they're all 20, it's 150. We know these questions aren't going to be 150. There might be a good 5, might be a good 6, maybe anything up to 10, but it's not going to be the whole thing. So just know what you can. Don't stress yourself out. If it's an area of weakness, you want to strengthen it. But if the other areas are strengths, then you want to really, really, really make sure you're giving it all you got. So that is kind of a little tool that you can use to pass the test. All right. So quick memory tip: need it, do it, check it, fund it. Need it, do it, check it, fund it. That is what you got to think about. You either need it, you're either going to do it, and then you need to check it after you've done it, and then they can decide to fund it, you know, because nobody's giving no money to something that ain't working, you know? So that is kind of how you have to think about it. So an example would be a domestic violence shelter launches a 12-month support program. So in that 12-month support program, you're going to get questions that they want to know: is the program working? Is it doing what it's supposed to do? Is it reducing the amount of people who are in domestic violence situations? How many people stay in the program versus how many return back to the abuser? Was the program worth funding? Did we get enough people who are safe and able to get housing as a result of this? You know, that's kind of how you have to think when you're looking at these style questions. All right. So think like the exam. Which stage of evaluation is it? They start with the needs, they process, then you move to the process evaluation, then you're conducting the outcome evaluation, and then you're finally performing a cost benefit analysis. Like, was it worth it when it was all said and done? So you can make this simplified and think about something that's a little bit more easier, or maybe you can bring closer to home. Because I would think as social workers, we don't do research, but I do it all the time in a lot of different areas in my private practice. And I also do it with this program, the coaching community, also the test prep community. Think about it. I know there's a need. So I can see how many people are not passing the exam based on certain, maybe it's race, maybe it's gender, maybe it's age. I'm taking all that stuff in consideration before I started. And then I'm like, okay, what services are out there? Like, what's being provided? Like, how is it being done? What is this happening? Is people doing really well when they're taking these courses, doing this, doing that? And it's like, that engagement, that accountability, that support, that one-on-one, all those things seem like it would be more helpful. So then when we're conducting the outcome evaluation, we're able to say, is this working? When I see people passing and I'm like, whoa, okay, 5 people passed, 2 people didn't. 10 people passed, 4 people didn't. You start looking at your percentages and looking at the outcome evaluation. And then finally I can say, is this all worth it? Is it worth doing this because you're getting better results and people are getting better, passing the exam and moving the way they should? That's when I do the cost benefit analysis. Is my time and energy that I'm investing in making this video, investing in creating the course, investing in creating different cheat sheets and guides and stuff that's going to help people level up and pass this exam, is it all worth it when it's said and done? When I look at how much time and energy I'm spending versus the outcome, how many people are actually passing and utilizing the services? That is a way that we use research. And I had to think about it in that perspective to help me better understand this so I can better help you in understanding it. So hopefully that was a good example and you guys got it. it. All right, so when it comes to grant funding and policy change, these are the things you need to know. One grant can keep a domestic violence program alive, and that is why the exam tests it. So think about that. It's an easy hook for you just to keep in your mind. Hook it to your brain. Hook it to your brain. How one grant can keep a domestic violence program alive and why the exam tests it. Because it wants to know if it's like, wow, this grant has helped keep this problem resolved. People are finding housing. People are able to be safe. You don't have a lot of women in these battered relationships. That lets them know, like, we need to keep funding this program because this is really working. And that is what the exam is testing. Is it working? Is this worthwhile? All right. So when you see some grant basics, look at the purpose, like the securing funding for programs, services, research. You want to look at some common things like the statement of need, the program description, some budget and sustainability plan. These are some things going a little bit deeper. You might not have to really worry about it for the exam, but I want you to have an understanding. Sometimes when we understand things a little bit more than needed, it makes the picture full. Like, aha, that makes sense. So hopefully this is doing that for you. So on exam, when you see words like proposal, funding, research development, think macaroni. All right, you guys got it. Hopefully that was helpful and you understood it. Are you studying for the LCSW or LMSW exam? Don't waste time on the wrong prep. Try my test prep program for free with a full module that gives you the real strategies, the real practice, and real results. Plus, you get access to my exclusive test prep community where you'll find support, study material, and accountability. No risk, no stress, just results. Click the link in the bio so you can get ready to win with the winning team. Now, macro advocacy roles, all day as social workers, we advocating all day. That's what we do. You advocate, we're policy analysts, we lobby, we're program administrator, we're administrator, we're community organizers. These are the things we do. So the ASB loves to test your ability to identify what hat you're wearing as a social worker. Because as a social worker, we got 1 hat, 2 hat, 3 hat, 4 hat, 5 hat, 6 hat, 7 hat, 8 hat, 9 hat, 10 hat. We got hats galore that we wear. So they want to make sure that when you're taking this exam, you know exactly what hat you're wearing and how you can move forward and help and do what you need to do. All right, so let's do this case study real quick. So a community domestic violence shelter was about to close until a grant proposal secured 250 stacks of funding. That wasn't therapy. That was macro social work, systems level impact that changed hundreds of lives. So now they got this nice community shelter, community domestic violence shelter, and it was about to close and that grant swooped in and gave them the money and everyone is feeling better and able to stay and maintain the shelter. The workers are able to maintain it. The people are able to stay and feel safe. So when a question mentions policy, advocacy, or funding, always ask yourself, like, what is a social worker's role at the macaroni level? How do you influence systems and not clients? Macro work is where we create the table, not just sit at it. Think about it, guys. We create the table, baby. We're not just sitting at the table. We create the table. That's big stuff. These are the big things we do as social workers on the real. When we work with these larger groups and we're making this huge impact and we're doing what we need to do. All right, so real quick, this is a recap. I don't need to go over this slide. This is pretty much what you've seen and what we went over and what we discussed. I hope it was really helpful for you. Don't be intimidated by the macaroni. That's all I'm gonna tell you guys. Don't be intimidated by it. It's just social work zoomed all the way out, It's not just the individual one-to-one. It's like whew, mega style, all right? So this is how you need to think about it when you're taking an exam. I'm sure it'll be helpful. Make sure you join the Vibe Tribe. It's in the description of this video. LCSWVibes guy, we helping you level up, level up, level up, level up. I love it. Some of you guys are actually sending me pictures of you wearing your shirt, going in the testing site, like, bam, I got this license. Like, it is what it is. So make sure you check out our Shopify store and get your merch. If it's something you want to see, because I've had some requests for tank tops for all my Cali people. Going back to Cali. I got everybody wanting the tank tops and some other stuff. So yes, definitely let me know what is going to work, what merch you want, what you like. I have people looking behind the scenes and doing it, but I got a really diverse group. So people like all kind of stuff, so if you want a bandana, you want a hat, you want a tank top, some of you want a scarf, whatever you want, let me know. Your girl is going to look into it and make it do what it do. But without further ado, make sure you join the community because I want to tap in and talk to you and be a little bit more connected. So send me a DM. We can talk, we can converse and see how your test prep journey is going. If it's anything that I can help you with or anything I can provide, please let your girl know because that is what I'm here for. So remember, without further ado, know your why. That's all I need you to do. Know your why because that why is going to get you to the finish line. And you will, repeat after me, you will be licensed. You will be licensed and you will have those 4 letters behind your name in no time because you're focused, you're determined, and you're dedicated to the cause. You're going to get what you came to get. So if you watch this video to the very and you know you're going to be licensed very soon, make sure you check out my other YouTube channel. It's called Coaching the Elite. That is where I'm helping you strategize and learn how to make the bank now that you got that license. You know what I mean? So definitely hit your girl over there. I have a coaching community over there, but it's just for those that are ready to elevate and take that license to the next level. So right now, focus on getting that license. But once you get your license, I'm going to follow you through your path so you can do what you want to do and what your dreams are as it pertains to getting this license. I know you didn't just get it just to get it. You know, if you got to work at these agencies and organizations, by all means, that is amazing, but it's nothing like having your own thing on the side. And I'm going to show you how you can do that. Be blessed to the next one, guys. I love rocking out with y'all. We going to level up.